Hello, guys and gals, and welcome. So we finally got some information on ladder, believe it or not. So stay tuned. So we have Diablo 2 Resurrected patch 2.4 highlights coming soon. So this is, I'm assuming, a new patch that will be coming out eventually. We've got ladder ranked play here. So right off the bat, we've got prepare to seek your glory. Ladder rank play is arriving early next year. Our priority for ladder rank play has always been for this mode to be a smooth experience. The competitive nature of this feature demands stability as players race toward 99. Our teams have continued to invest time in making the gaming experience and performance smoother for everyone. We can't wait for you to begin your climb, but for now, let's dive into some exciting details around this upcoming feature. Like Diablo 2 Classic, Diablo 2 Resurrected will feature 4 different ladder modes, including Standard Ladder, a casual version of ladder that encompasses playing 4 acts, Hardcore Ladder, the Hardcore Ladder with only 1 life, which is also 4 acts. Standard Expansion Ladder, this is the casual version of ladder to play that encompasses 5 acts, as it includes the Lord of Destruction and expansion content. And then Hardcore Expansion Ladder, the Hardcore obviously only has 1 life. For the first time, players will have the chance to unlock a host of new rune words in the ladder system. To be clear, these rune words have never existed in the game before, and they will not be accessible in non-ladder play like the previous set of ladder-only rune words. In the original Diablo 2 experience, at the end of ladder season, players who successfully made these rune words will have their ladder characters be moved into non-ladder version of the game. Then at the beginning of the next ladder season, players will make a new ladder character and start all over again to earn new rewards. Currently, we don't have any specific new rune words to showcase, but if you tune in to our developer update stream, more details below, hosted by content creator Mr. Llama SC, you'll be able to receive a glimpse. Interesting. Lastly, we've been monitoring discussions around ladder rank play in the community. The duration of ladder is an element our team is still trying to gauge as we progress forward, but we're looking to create the rush of our new ladder and find the best time frame for ladder rotation that meets your expectations. Presently, we're considering 4 months for ladder seasons. We'll continue monitoring the community's opinion and preference on this front as we approach PTR for patch 2.4 early next year. That's a public test realm. Class balance changes. After so many requests from the community, we're thrilled to share new balance changes are coming for your favorite heroes in Diablo 2 Resurrected. As fans ourselves, we're just as eager as you to find new ways to play. This is incredibly special as the last patch to make balance changes to classes in Diablo 2 was patch 1.13c, which was released back on March 23rd, 2010. Now, 11 years later, we're making new changes to expand the character build diversity and retain class fantasy and speciality. These goals are crucial. We are reviewing underused skills, assessing casting delays, making tooltip quality of life changes, and more to fulfill these goals. We want to empower you to be creative with the builds you want to play, but we don't want to reinvent the wheel and steer classes from their core purposes. Without diving into the specifics, let's take a peek at the philosophies behind various class changes. First off, we've got Amazon. The Amazon's agility and versatility are profound. Generally, we like the current state of the Amazon class and believe her to be quite balanced. Nonetheless, we see an opportunity to improve the Amazon's melee skills. I'm going to be talking about Fend, Jab, and Impale. Nonetheless, we want to buff the strengths of certain underused melee skills, such as Impale, Fend, to give more reason to use them. We are also looking into freeing up synergy requirements for melee skills to give more skill point freedom for other possibilities. Additionally, we are also considering buffing certain skills in the bow and crossbow tree to help improve bow gameplay in higher difficulties. The Amazon got nerfed into oblivion a long time ago, and it's very important to note this because they never really fixed it. So they just kind of nerfed the Amazon into oblivion and they just left it. And the Amazon has been a little on the lackluster side ever since. We also have the Assassin. The Assassin vanquishes evil from the darkness with great ease. However, for this class, we see an opportunity for the martial arts build to shine brighter. Martial arts skills can become increasingly challenging to perform in higher difficulties, so we are reevaluating how to improve generating and spending combo points. Furthermore, various trap skills are not often used, so we're reevaluating synergy requirements to promote more trap builds and damage scaling buffs. That's going to be a difficult one. I feel like a lot of the traps are not used because of their damage, not necessarily because of their synergies. Also, you know, the other traps are fire, which is a less enjoyed element in the Diablo 2 realm. Barbarian. The brawn of the Barbarian is unmatched. Nonetheless, we see opportunities to add more diversity to combat skills. We're looking into adding more possibilities with combat skills such as Leap Attack, Grim Ward, while also reevaluating skill synergy requirements to promote more reasons to spend points on certain combat skills. There are some pretty terrible skill synergy setups. Most notably, Berserk, which is a skill that ruins your defense completely, has a synergy with a skill that buffs your defense. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's cross purposes entirely. Additionally, we think throwing barbarians can be more viable. That should be fun. So we are looking into enhancing the double throw and throwing mastery skills. That sounds like a lot of good fun. Druid. The bestial ferocity of the Druid makes all tremble. With that said, we see exciting opportunities to level up certain aspects of this class. From our perspective, Druid fire skills are underperforming. We are reevaluating casting delays for fire skills, exploring improvements to some of their physical damage components, and improving synergies. We're also looking at potential tweaks affecting other elemental skills that are underused. They're probably talking about fire claws. We want to improve the controls for Arctic Blast too, such as allowing more free form while channeling and no longer locking your targeting onto one enemy at a time. Regarding to summon skills, we believe summons are weak in high difficulty. On this front, we're evaluating health gains per level, quality of life improvements, damage output, and new synergies for ravens, wolves, and vines. Interesting. That should be fun to make a summon druid. Lastly, we're evaluating improvements to the Werebear skills, primarily focused on synergy improvements. The Werebear is the least used probably out of the tree. Necromancer. The commander of death sends his foes to an early grave, like the Amazon. We like the current state of the Necromancer class. Nonetheless, we see an opportunity to improve specific summons we believe are underused. We're balancing elemental damages of skeletal mages and making lesser used golems more effective. Additionally, we see opportunities for the bone skill improvements in high difficulty. We're tweaking synergies on this front. Absolutely amazing. Paladin. The wrath of the Holy Zealot is glorious. Despite this, we believe certain combat skills are underused. We're exploring ways to make lesser used skills, i.e. Fist of the Heavens, more utilized so players have more reasons to spend points to unlock these skills. We also see an opportunity to scale offensive aura skills as well. This includes making improvements to AoE damage auras to make them more effective at closer range. We also want to improve Thorns so that it can scale better and deal more reliable damage at higher levels. Fist of the Heavens' main problem is its delay. They're going to have to do something about the Fist of the Heavens' delay. Sorceress. There is no greater master of elemental magic than these mages. We're very satisfied with the Sorceress's current state, but we see a few opportunities for improvement. Regarding cold skills, we believe there can be more diversity with the armor skills, i.e. Frozen Armor, Shiver Armor, and Chilling Armor for distinctive advantages. There's really not a huge difference between them at this particular moment, and most people end up choosing the first one because it has the freezing effect. We are also looking into adding more build possibilities around lesser used lightning skills by exploring more skill synergies. Lastly, we're also revisiting fire skills to improve underused ones like Hydra. Similar to Arctic Blast, we're exploring making control improvements to Inferno skill so that it is less clunky to use. One of the main problems with Arctic Blast and Inferno, by the way, is that you have to remain stationary while they are in use. And while Arctic Blast actually has that chill effect, that massive chill effect, which will slow a monster down and prevent them from getting to you, Inferno does not. And Inferno suffers even more from this because there is no crowd control effect on Inferno whatsoever, and the monsters will just run straight at you, start hitting you in the face, and you can't do anything about it while you're using the skill. Your only opportunity is to run away, stop, recast the skill, run away, stop, recast the skill. At least with Arctic Blast, it can momentarily slow down monsters quite well. Mercenary Changes and new Rune Words. And we're not done. Class balance changes aren't the only updates players want to see. We've seen a lot of feedback from the community around the subject of mercenaries, and we are making improvements to mercenaries in a variety of ways. Many players enjoy using the Desert Mercenary, and we want to give more reason to use the other 3 mercenaries. So we are looking into improving their skills and stats to enhance their identity and fantasy. New Horadric Cube recipes, set item changes, and new Rune Words are on the horizon. New Horadric Cube recipes being implemented will allow for upgrading the item quality of set items. That's absolutely amazing. To give more item build possibilities, set item changes will update underperforming set items to have more bonuses, giving players more incentive to pursue partial and full set items that can complement the skill changes alluded above. Lastly, Rune Words will be added to complement the skill and mercenary changes coming in the update. Absolutely amazing. And apparently there's going to be a live stream with the developers by Mr. Llama on Thursday, December 16th at 11 a.m. PST. So that's going to be interesting. This blog is just scratching the surface about upcoming changes and features coming in patch 2.4 PTR, coming early next year. To learn more, we invite you to join our community content creator, Mr. Llama SC, Diablo 2 Resurrected design lead, Robert Gallerani, senior game producer, Matthew Catterquist. In their upcoming live stream, this broadcast will be both a presentation and an opportunity for members of the community to ask questions. We can't wait to share more with you then. This has been an incredible year for Diablo 2 Resurrected. We wish our community a happy holiday season and a happy new year. Thank you for playing our game, and thank you for your continued support. If you want to learn more about Diablo 2 Resurrected, check our website here. And for more real-time updates, follow our Twitter. So basically, they're promoting Mr. Llama's stream. So we're going to have to keep that in mind, because we'll have to go and take a look at that, because there's probably going to be a lot of good information there. I am not one of those YouTubers who shies away from interaction with other YouTubers. Mr. Llama is definitely one that has his ear to the ground with the developers. So let's talk about these changes real quick. So right off the bat, we've got finally a ladder announcement. So ladder's coming next year. They didn't give a specific date, but at least we know it's going to be next year, which is nice. Just like I thought, they had taken away pretty much every incentive to play ladder, and I knew that they were going to have to add new incentives. And what they did was exactly that. They added in new ladder rune words, which is absolutely amazing. That is great. I'm kind of excited to see what these new ladder rune words are. I'm also glad we got a chance to play the game as it is now without these rune words in it, because it gives us a more genuine idea of how things are now, and then in the future when these rune words get added, we can either raise hell that these things are breaking the game, or we can hail them as great new additions to the game. We shall see. And of course, they're going to have all the different ladder versions. So if you want to play standard, hardcore, ladder, or ladder expansion, hardcore, they have all those different versions. Class balance changes. Now this is really interesting, and I'm glad that they're doing this, because there really are a lot of skills in the game that just kind of never saw the light of day. Amazon, it was very obvious that Fend and Impale really did not do very well, and I would have really liked to have seen Fend do well, and I'm glad that they're going this route. Also, the changes to the bow skills to make them a little bit more useful. There definitely are a lot of useless bow skills. I feel like in general the two first fire and ice arrows are actually pretty awful, unless you're building like a pure physical build. And you know, multi-shot and strafe are great, but they have such a huge damage penalty, and they're basically, in a nutshell, the Amazon has been having a lot of trouble keeping up with other classes. So when other classes take a look at the Amazon and they're like, well, do I want to build an Amazon? And like, well, I could build this character and they would do just as well, if not better, with less equipment. As it is right now, to compete on an Amazon, you need some pretty awesome equipment, and even then, you're not doing as well as somebody else who has awesome equipment. But they are certainly able to hold their own, and I think that's important. The Assassin's martial arts tree has always been an issue, and I'm glad that they're going to be taking a look at it. The martial arts tree is just, very complicated with all the combos and charges and the short duration of those charges and all the synergies required to build individual skills. Like you can do it, and I've done it before on live stream, but it's difficult. It's very difficult, and it's not something that people are generally interested in doing. Most people don't want to play a character that is ridiculously difficult to play. They want to play a character that is challenging, but not so challenging that they've got to get carpal tunnel in their hands while they're performing their combos. I guess if they wanted to do that, they would just go play some Street Fighter. We've got Barbarian Changes, which Barbarian does have a lot of very odd synergies. I was looking at them the other day when I was building my Barbarian, my Shield Barbarian, which I know is an odd choice, but there were just so many odd choices. Like, I was thinking about building Berserk at first, but I'm like, the synergies on Berserk are awful. Like, I don't want to build the synergies on Berserk. And then on top of that, I was thinking to myself, hey, Berserk doesn't even really steal life, and it makes me extremely weak, so I'm going to need some other skill along with this. And I'm looking at the synergies of these skills, and nothing is matching up, and nothing is making any sense, and the amount of points that I would have had to spend was ridiculous, so I just ended up going with Whirlwind. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people, is they look at Barbarian, they look at all these beautiful skills, and then they're like, I might as well just go with Frenzy or Whirlwind, because those are the two main choices right now for Barbarian anyway, is Frenzy and Whirlwind. The only other choice really is a Singer Barb, and hopefully they'll reevaluate some of those sing-song skills too to make them a little bit better. The Druid was very interesting that they talked about. Number one is Arctic Blast, which was a dead obvious one, but I'm also glad that they talked about the Summoning Tree, because the Summoning Tree is extremely weak at this particular point. Even with the most godlike equipment that you could ever put on a druid, they still underperform in hell difficulty, and it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad that they're going to be adding new synergies for ravens, wolves, and vines. I feel like this is really important. I also hope that they just simply make it so that you can summon all the wolves at one time. I feel like that would solve a lot of the problems. Just give the summoning druid an army. Let him have the dire wolves, the spirit wolves, and the bear up at the same time. And I feel like if you do that, the summoning druid might actually work out pretty nicely. I'm also glad that they're going to be taking a look at the Werebear skills. I feel like that is a really, really good addition. The Werebear is generally kind of underappreciated. It does have some very nice skills like Shockwave, but it doesn't really have the same kind of utility and an amazing presence that the Werewolf Druid has. And it would be nice if they beefed that up a little bit. And I'm sure my nephew Mark will appreciate them beefing up the Werebear, because last time we were playing, I'm pretty sure he was playing the Werebear. So I'm sure he's going to look forward to Werebear improvements. Now, the Necromancer really doesn't have a lot that I would have said needed improvement, but it's interesting that they chose the very few things that I would have chosen. The Skeletal Mages definitely need improvement, and they decided to go for that. And several of the Golems are just not really the greatest. The Fire Golem in particular needs to cost less mana. Like, when you build him up to max, he costs like 400 mana per cast, and he's not even really that great. And the Blood Golem, ever since the nerf between Iron Maiden and Blood Golem, has been absolutely awful, and most people will never choose a Blood Golem, and so it pretty much comes down to Clay Golem or Iron Golem. And Iron Golem needs a lot of improvements as well, and I hope that they take some time to make sure that, number one, the Iron Golem can't just disappear, despawn. Number two, I hope they make it so that you can't accidentally despawn the Iron Golem yourself, which has happened to me on many occasions. I accidentally hit like the Clay Golem button and right click like an idiot, and immediately kill my Golem and waste whatever item I'd made him out of. There are a lot of things that I'd like them to see done with the Iron Golem, but the whole thing about the Iron Golem being a one-time use thing needs a little bit of improvement, because I feel like he just dies way too much for something that is supposed to not die. And most of the time when he dies, it's not your fault. The Paladin, they talked about Fist of the Heavens, and there might be some other skills that they'll look at, who knows. But I'm interested in this Scale Offensive Aura skills. I'm kind of interested in what they're going to be doing here. They're also talking about making improvements to AoE damage auras. So this is specifically Holy Fire, Holy Freeze, and Holy Shock, if you guys are unaware. And an improvement to Thorns would definitely be very nice, and that is going to affect everybody, by the way. So improving Thorns doesn't just affect the Paladin. Improving Thorns is going to affect the Necromancer, who runs a Bramble or a Thorns Merc or a edge bow. It's going to affect the summoning druid, with which they will hopefully buff, and is going to really want some extra thorns. Thorns is something that is extremely powerful, or was extremely powerful back in the day, and got nerfed into oblivion. But hopefully they will be able to balance it properly. And then we have the Sorceress, who they're pretty much are like, yeah, she's pretty OP, and we really don't need to do much to her. But then they're like, oh yeah, but, you know, we want to make some diversity between the armors, which is a good thing. I feel like the armors should have some diversity between their choices, some more distinctive advantages, as they say. And then we also have the underused lightning skills. They're probably talking about Charged Bolt, perhaps, or maybe the Lightning T-Storm. Who knows? Lastly, we're also revisiting fire skills to improve underused ones. So like Hydra, Inferno, they're probably going to take a look at, I want to say they'll probably take a look at Blaze too, because Blaze is relatively underused compared to Firewall. Firewall tends to be the superior choice there. I'm interested in what they're going to be doing with these synergies too. They keep talking about changing synergies or updating synergies or making them more powerful. And these are going to be whole videos. I'm going to have to make whole videos on these changes, and I hope you guys will tune in. So make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell, because when those videos pop up, you guys want to know what those changes are. So Mercenary, new changes, and Rune Words. So this is something that we've been talking about a lot on channel, is improving the other 3 mercenaries. So as you know, the Act 1 mercenary, the Act 2 mercenary, the Act 3 mercenary, and the Act 5 mercenary. And which one gets the most used? And it's no brainer. It's the Act 2 mercenary every single time. Now, I've got some niche uses of my Act 3 mercenary, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job with him, but he's really maxed out. There's really not much more that I can do with him to make him better, and he's a good mercenary for me, for my particular character, but 99% of the other characters out there, he's a terrible mercenary, and he would do awful. So I'm glad to see that they will be beefing up probably the Act 3 mercenary, the Act 5 mercenary, which is the Barbarian, and most likely they'll probably also be buffing up the Act 1 mercenary. I feel like the main things that they can do to make these mercenaries better is, number one, change their skills around a little bit. The Act 1 mercenary really needs better skills than Cold Arrow and Fire Arrow. Freezing Arrow would work absolutely good, and Exploding Arrow would work way better than Fire Arrow. Same thing with the Barbarian. The Barbarian really needs something to really make him shine. Give him some shouts. If you gave the Barbarian some shouts, I guarantee you people would use him. It would be a cheap, way around the CTA. Or if you gave him something like Whirlwind instead, or Frenzy, just give the Barbarian Merc something other than what he's got. Make him so he can dual wield. That would be fun. So he could put on 2 weapons instead of 1. The Act 3 Mercenary needs a lot of improvements in his skills. His spells are awful. Like the Inferno one, the Fire Inferno one is absolutely terrible. And maybe if they buff up the Inferno skill, it will also inherently buff him up. But he's absolutely terrible. Nobody chooses the Fire one, even if they do choose the Act 3 Mercenary, which leaves the Lightning and the Cold. Now the Cold one is very, very effective for crowd control, but it doesn't really do a massive amount of damage, even with the best gear possible. So I hope they work his skills a little bit, make him a little bit more powerful. I would like to see him use Glacial Spike as his main ability, and perhaps Frozen Orb as his secondary. If you guys don't know, the Act 3 Mercenary tends to cast 1 spell, which is a lesser spell, and then he casts 1 spell, which is kind of like his main spell. And he does that one far less than the others. So what I would like to see is the Act 3 Cold Mercenary, at the very least, kind of like spamming Glacial Spikes, and then occasionally throwing out a Frozen Orb. I think that would be very powerful for him, and of course you would have to beef him up with plus to skills and various other effects. As for the Act 2 Mercenary, he doesn't need anything. Another thing that we had discussed was that it would be nice if they could give auras to the other mercenaries. I feel like if they gave auras to the other mercenaries, they would open up options for other players and they would make them more likely to be used. It doesn't really have to be the most amazing auras in the world. It could just be something like cleansing, or it could be something odd like holy shock or holy fire or something like that. Like you could give them certain things that would grant advantages, which would make for interesting builds, and you can take the characters and try to figure things out with them. And I think that's a good thing. Then we also have new Heraldric Cube recipes, set item changes, and new rune words are on the horizon. So this is very interesting here. So if you guys are unaware, there are tons of Heraldric Cube recipes. I mean tons and tons and tons. And these Heraldric Cube recipes are very, very useful. So right off the bat, they give us a hint as to what those Heraldric Cube recipes are, because they tell us they are going to allow us to upgrade the quality of set items to give more build possibilities. And this is absolutely huge. You have no idea how many sets are absolutely misused or underused just simply because you can't upgrade them. Take Death Set. The Death Sash cannot be frozen on it at an extremely low level, but it has like the smallest potion slots imaginable. I would love to use Death's Sash on more characters, but the potion slots just make it impossible. Being able to upgrade Death Sash 1 tier is a huge advantage because you would be able to then get max potion slots with Cannot Be Frozen at an early level and use them with the gloves, which also gives you lifesteal and some other really nice effects. So a very powerful ability to be able to upgrade items. And there are a lot of set items which could do with some really nice upgrades. Right off the bat, I can think of Griswold's Heart. Griswold's Heart has negative 40% requirements on it and is relatively high defense. But if you upgraded it to the Sacred Armor, it would have 232 strength requirement. But with the negative 40% requirement on there, it's going to go down to a massively lowered strength number. You still get 3 sockets, and it's going to have extremely high defense, and it will probably have some really nice uses among mercenaries or characters that want to stack like 15% 40 ED jewels or any other number of things. And this is just off the top of my head. Of course, this might not be the exact thing that you would want to do with these upgraded set items, but do keep in mind that there are a lot of sets that have weapons in them. And because those sets have weapons in them, they are absolutely useless. So being able to upgrade the weapon of the set is a huge thing because it increases the longevity of the set tremendously. I can think of quite a few sets that have weapons that become useless very quickly because those weapons become useless as you level up. Death Set has a sword. We have Berserker Set has the axe. You've got Tancred's has that stupid little crow bill. You know, you've got the Angelic Set has the sickle, and all of these sets become relatively misused or underused because of that weapon. And so it's absolutely great that they're going to be adding in the ability to upgrade those. The new rune words I'm a little bit hesitant on because I have no clue what these rune words are going to be. They could do anything with these rune words. They could make them super expensive or they could make them dirt cheap. And you've got to imagine that a powerful rune word that's dirt cheap could completely change the balance of the game. And a powerful rune word that is super duper expensive is going to be something that is very hard to come by and something that you will strive for. I hope that they put a lot of thought into these rune words before they go through the process of adding them into the game. And it sounds like we are going to be doing public test realms, so we will have some opportunities to give feedback on this stuff, which is very important. And I like the general vibe of what they're talking about here. The general vibe of what they're talking about is they want to make more build possibilities. They want to open up the mind essentially of the people who are playing this game, so that you can create more fantastic and fanciful things. Like for instance, when I play a bow sorceress, I don't know if you guys saw my video on the Demon Machine crossbow, but playing a bow sorceress is a very odd thing, and I hope that they add even more items into the game which allow even more odd builds like that. And then on top of that, lastly, they say here, new rune words will be added to complement the skill and mercenary changes coming in the update. So they're going to be adding rune words specifically for the mercenaries. I hope that they do add some stuff like that, like perhaps a a barbarian only rune word for a helmet or something that only the barbarian merc can wear, or maybe a rune word specifically for, like, you know, the Act 3 mercenary or something. It would be cool to have rune words in the game that are specific to the mercenaries. That would be really interesting. Maybe ones specifically that buff up the skills that the mercenaries use, or give the mercenaries some additional skills that they can use. That would be very interesting. Like being able to put something on a mercenary and giving them, like, the ability to use Battle Shout, and then your barbarian is then using Battle Shout because he's wearing this particular piece of equipment. That would be awesome. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching this video, and you know, and you know, we're gonna have a lot of fun with this. We are. So tune in tomorrow around this time, so December 16th on 11 a.m. PST, because we're gonna be watching Mr. Llama's stream, and we're gonna be commenting on what's going on. So we're gonna watch live. If you want to watch with me, or you want to watch Mr. Llama's stream, that's fine too. But we will be watching one way or another, having a little party while we listen to the developers and hear what new information is to come. And as always, whenever I get information, you will have it. And I appreciate you guys coming to me for this information. I've prattled on long enough. So as always, thanks for watching, and keep watching.